Okay, I'm not going to fall here, so if I fall, y'all run for your life. Okay, just to get this thing kind of kicked off and started, Tom Smith, our Secretary of Transportation, was supposed to be here and start everything and get everything going. But we have a really important declaration. I'm early and he's late. So when he gets here, y'all remind him of that until he leaves. But anyway, I'm going to pass the baton to Butch or to someone, and we're going to get started, and Tom's going to be here in 3 minutes, but I wanted to supersede him being here and remind you to remind him he's late and I'm early.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I think I'll put it here on the stand. Good morning. I want to welcome everyone to the Churchill Hodges Atrium in the Arthur Weisberg Family Applied Engineering Complex. It's always great to host a public forum on this campus, and we're delighted to do that today. We're very pleased to have our governor here to address the road bond referendum. It's truly special to have a statewide leader visit your institution, and it's truly an honor to have our governor with us today. We've hosted the governor twice this year, and we look forward to hosting him many times in the future. Governor, you're always welcome on our campus. Today we gather to discuss the importance of infrastructure and the road bond. I wrote an op-ed this summer which I talked about how we cannot develop our economy to its fullest without investment in our road system. Infrastructure investment is like investment in higher education. It's investment for the future. The road plan is going to create thousands of jobs and set us up for additional economic expansion in the state of West Virginia. I applaud the bold vision of the governor. He proposed this package, and with bipartisan support, it passed the legislature. The money to fund the bonds program is in place. It's a no-brainer, and I fully support the governor's road plan. It's a great plan, Governor. Governor Justice, as you may know, has 2 degrees from Marshall, as does his wife and his daughter. It is wonderful to have the First family as part of Marshall's family. It's an honor to have him again on our campus. We thank you for coming to the campus, Governor. Thank you so much.
So while we're waiting on Tom Smith to get here, and we all should greet him, as soon as he walks in the door, I think everybody should be ready to say, "You're late." So anyway, there's a number of folks here we wanted to recognize this morning. First of all, Coach Bob Pruitt and his wife Elsie. Huntington Mayor Steve Williams. Barbersville Mayor Chris Tatum. State Senator Bob Plymel. State Senator Glenn Jeffries. Delegate Chad Lovejoy. Delegate Ken Hicks. Delegate Chuck Roman. Alex Vence from the Huntington City Council. And former state senator and now chief of staff for Governor Justice Mike Hall. Thank you all for being here. Now I would like to introduce to you Steve Roberts from the West Virginia Chamber of Commerce.
Butch, thank you for introducing me. It's great to be back home. It's great to be in Huntington. And after you finished introductions, I noticed that Delegate Matt Rohrbach had come in the room. Dr. Rohrbach, welcome. We're glad you're here. I also want to make note of the room that we're in and recognize my good friend, Mrs. Hodges, Mary Hodges. Churchill Hodges was someone who I knew when I was in school in Huntington. I held him in the highest regard, and I hold Mary in such high regard, and it's wonderful to be here in this room. And we had nice buildings when I went to Marshall, but not this nice, so thank you. Thank you very much. I also want to take this opportunity to remind certain people in the room that Mayor Steve Williams has a background in Huntington that really can't be excelled. I really can't say enough about Steve. You know, he was number 12 when he was a quarterback for Huntington High. He was number 11 when he was a quarterback for the Young Thundering Herd. I've told people, I've enjoyed Governor telling this story, that Steve and I were locker mates at Huntington High, and I used to stand around and wait for his girlfriend to come by because she was so pretty. So, and I've been friends with Mary long enough, I think I can tell that story. So Steve, it's great to see you and be with you, Coach. Good to see you. So glad you're here. I just want to say very briefly that the West Virginia Chamber of Commerce is extremely proud to be in support of Amendment 1. We are urging a yes vote. I can't say enough. Senator Plymel has spent so much of his career helping to move transportation along, helping to get our state on the move, helping to make commerce move throughout our state, and helping to ensure that we have safe roads and highways to drive on. And Senator Plymel, I just want to say a special thank you to you for your work and career in helping to improve transportation in our state. Our state moves on its roads. And this is my opportunity to say that a week ago, the Board of Directors of the West Virginia Chamber of Commerce, which is made up of people throughout West Virginia, representing every community in our state, voted unanimously in support of Amendment 1. Folks, we have got to get this done. This is the single most important thing that we can do for our state, for our future, for the things that are important to all of us in the next 30 days or so. We've seen very positive polling. Thank you. We've seen positive polling. There's a reason for people to be positive. There are no new taxes associated with this. We've now done an economic analysis that says we can actually build more roads by borrowing the money through a bond to do this than if we did a pay-as-you-go. So economically, from a business person's point of view, this makes sense. None of us would say that we wouldn't sign up for a program like this. So no new taxes, better roads, more jobs, and let me just take this moment to thank our governor. Governor Justice, it's wonderful to have you here in this place. It's wonderful to have you providing the kind of leadership that has gotten us to this place. Now it's up to us, we the voters, to get this over the goal line. And we're here to do it. We're here to talk about it. We're here to help make it happen. I'm going to be part of a group that stays and helps answer questions, but from the standpoint of our state's business leaders, we want this. We know we need it. It is key to our state's future. It is a foundation upon which we can build. And thank you, all of you, for your interest, your concern, and your thoughts about the good future that we have facing us in West Virginia. And let's welcome Governor Justice back to his home campus one more time. Governor.
Thank you, Steve. I'd now like to introduce Chris Hamilton from the West Virginia Business Industry Council and the West Virginia Coal Association.
Thank you, Butch. Well, what an honor it is to share the podium with these distinguished gentlemen here this morning. I am with the Coal Association and the West Virginia Business and Industry Council. First, my Coal Association hat. as I just feel so fortunate, and it's so good to be here in this wonderful facility. And when I rode up this morning, I passed the facilities building on my way to here, and I think the footprint or the handprint of the coal industry you'll find strung throughout this entire campus, academically as well as athletically. And we are just so proud of that connection. There are so many Marshall alums working throughout the West Virginia and the nation's coal industry. No matter where you go, you find alums of Marshall and individuals that have some involvement with the West Virginia coal industry. And we're just so proud of that connection. They're running our mining operations, they're running our safety departments, our environmental quality departments. And I don't think there's any question. We have the best mining operations and the best miners you'll find anywhere in the world. And a lot of that's attributed to the education and the world education that they get while they're right here at Marshall University. I'm also part, with my other hat on, the West Virginia Business Industry Council. Steve represents the big business and little business. He is big business. The West Virginia Business and Industry Council represents state business associations, the Oil and Gas Association, the Coal Association, the manufacturers, the car dealers, the contractors are all part of the West Virginia Business and Industry Council. And we wholeheartedly, without exception, embrace this Rhodes Bond Amendment that's before the voters on October 7th. We don't see a downside. As Steve indicated, there are absolutely no new taxes or fees associated with this. And Secretary Smith obviously hit the same doggone pothole that I hit coming down here that caused his delay. I think we're all hitting those potholes. We all see roads that need to be constructed, bridges that need to be repaired, and we have that opportunity going forward. And I don't think it's been said yet, but we also have the opportunity to create tens of thousands of new jobs for West Virginians as part of this initiative. New jobs, new highway construction, new road and bridge repair, no new taxes, no new fees. This is an absolute win-win. And we all have the ability to be part of it. We have the individual power to make this happen. With all the gloom and doom that we see around the state, this perhaps is the brightest spot that we can look towards and look forward to reap the benefits for literally years and years to come. I applaud Governor Coach Justice, who had this as the centerpiece of his campaign last year. I also applaud the state Senate and the state House of Delegates who voted in the affirmative to put this before the people on October 7th. A lot of great vision in those acts. And again, we all have the ability to be part of that by getting our friends and families and colleagues out to vote for this. And you don't have to wait till October 7th. There's a 10-day early voting period preceding October 7th. So let's get out and vote and get this done for the herd. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Chris. I'd like to introduce to you our Secretary of Transportation. Governor Justice calls him a superstar because he truly is. Tom Smith, with his background in roads, is the man that will lead this effort after the road bond passes on October the 7th. But I know the Secretary was a little tardy in getting here, but on the count of three, we need to welcome him this morning. So on the count of three, 1, 2, 3, you're late. Tom Smith.
That certainly is the most unique introduction I've ever had. I didn't get the memo. Governor Justice, President Gilbert, and other honored guests, it's really a pleasure to be here at Marshall. I've worked in West Virginia now since 1999 and have always had a great partnership with folks here at Marshall, and I look forward to that continuing. We certainly know that there's a place for students from Marshall and helping out with the governor's plan. We're excited about that, but I also know with the Appalachian Transportation Institute and Senator Plymel and Dean Zatar that we have real experts in transportation that can also help us. And I know there's been a history of them helping us with things like the Blue Ribbon Commission over the years and really staking out what we need to do in transportation. And now we're close to having really, really big things happen. But today is a quick update on what has been happening with the Roads to Prosperity program, but then really a call to arms for what is happening on October 7th. So I want to give you just a little bit of a background here, and I know some of this you will have already heard, but the governor's plan is a tremendous plan for economic recovery. It's a historic plan. Folks will be looking back 20 years from now saying, wow, look at what happened in 2017 and 2018. And really grateful to Governor Justice for having the vision, for having the persistence to push it over the finish line, and for us to have today what we're on the cusp of having. Again, though, it's a call to arms today. It's so critical that we actually have the right things happen on October 7th. Backing up a little bit, the governor's plan is big, $2.6, $2.8 billion. It's bold, 48,000 immediate jobs. It provides for immediate economic recovery. I'm real proud of the team at West Virginia DOH for what they've done so far with this program, that we've stood up about $415 million worth of work. Now, it's important for you all to understand that the fees that were passed, the gas tax, the privilege tax, all of that has been trickling in about $10 million a month. Now we've gotten a month and a half, 2 months, and we're up to about $17 million. But the West Virginia DOH has leveraged about $415 million of work already. We quickly got on the road in July with a bunch of accelerated paving projects. Then we actually, with the fees that are coming in, we said maybe we can get to the off-system, off-federal system, state system, secondary roads and have about a year of working on those. Those are the roads that you all live on that never get attended to. And so we said, as we're waiting to actually have the first debt service payments, why don't we use that pay-as-you-go money to take care of those secondary roads? And that's really, I think, going to be a popular program, but it's really important when you hear how all of this fits together to understand what might happen with that program if, in fact, something doesn't go well with the bond on October 7th. So we got that going now. We also have about $285 million worth of work with Garvey bonds. That's where we're using some of our federal aid program to actually bond out. $285 million worth of bonding going out the door the last week of October. That's the biggest bond sale for transportation purposes for any one single day in West Virginia history. So a lot of really good stuff happening there. Leveraging a total of those three programs so far, $415 million. That's about twice the stimulus program that President Obama had back in 2009. So that's remarkable. But now here's the really important thing I want to show you, and this is a high-tech audio-visual. I'll show the governor first. That, good work, Tom. Yeah. High-tech visual here. The little wedge right here is the $415 million. Now, the green part of this is the general obligation bonds. The full impact of what the governor is trying to do with this transportation vision, really you can see it in this audiovisual. It's the huge amount that the bond sale actually provides for us. Now, we've got the listing of projects. These are the really high-cost projects here. And if you have the bond sale, we're able to finally get to some of these very, very expensive projects. These are projects that have regional importance, that you all will benefit from them regardless of what county you're in. When I talked about those other programs, we have lots and lots of work going in every single county in the state. But when you get to these big, expensive projects, you have projects that are regionally important, like the Turnpike Widening Project on I-64 in Beckley, like the Nitro St. Albans Bridge on I-64 in the Taze Valley area, the Wheeling Bridges. So you have very, very expensive projects, and it's very important for you all to understand that we have a hard time getting to those projects very quickly if we don't have the bond sale. So what I want you all to understand is the real significance of what's happening on October 7th, that we are able to get in one fell swoop, we're able to get to a lot of those projects and to get those moving, but it enables us to continue doing all that other work that we're using these other programs to do off on the roads that you live on. So we know that there's three questions that come up with this bond sale, and I've already heard that some of the folks already have made this remark. The first question, the big key question, is will it require any new taxes? And the answer to that is no, no, and no. It absolutely does not. That work was already done in the legislative session. The taxes were raised that will fully support every bit of this bond issuance. The second thing is a question that people ask is, what's in it for me? Now, I'll refer you to the big map here that has 600 projects on it. That's what's in it for everyone. Every county in the state, every system of roadway, every type of work is featured on that map. And also on that map are these 40 big projects that are on the other list over here. All of that is what's in it for the state, for every citizen. But now, the final question is, what if something happens and the bond doesn't pass? And this is really important for you all to understand. The first thing, which is tragic, is the lost opportunity for economic recovery. I mean, this is vital that we have this thousands and thousands and thousands of jobs for our citizens. So that's the first thing, the lost immediate economic recovery. The second thing is it is an optimal time for bonding right now. The bond rates that we would expect to get would be something like 3.5%. Any cost index that you use for the way costs are growing with construction are at 4.5%, 5.5%, 6.5%. So it's an ideal time for bonding out, and if the bond doesn't pass, we miss that opportunity. It will cost more later, and you'll have continuing deterioration. So to me, as an engineer, it would be tragic to lose this opportunity. The third thing that's critically important that you all understand is we would have to scale back all these other programs, these programs where we're getting to the roads that you all live on. The reason for that is we have to fund those big projects somehow. And if we don't have the bond to fund them, then we're going to have to take it out of the money that we have, and that means scaling back everything that we've already started to push out. And again, as an engineer, that would be tragic. And then the final thing I would say is the governor opened Logan Route 10 about 2 weeks ago. That route was known as the most dangerous road in West Virginia for years and years and years. What I can tell you is 4-lane expressways are about twice as safe as 2-lane roadways. So the really sad thing is if we don't get to this bond, you have a human cost where our citizens are traveling on 2-lane roads that are not as safe as 4-lane roads, and that transportation system is the system that our citizens need and deserve. So anyway, I hope I've set the stage. I know Governor Justice is really wanting to talk to you about this program. I am honored to be a member of his team, honored to have a man who has such a vision for transportation. And so with that, with no further ado, Governor, I'm going to introduce the 36th Governor of the state of West Virginia, Governor Jim Justice.
Okay now, everybody please sit down, sit down. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to come around here. What would be great if we could sit that right there. And I'm going to come around here and sit with you and talk to you, okay? And I'm going to try to get this, okay? Perfect. Can I do that? That'd be great. Okay. I'll even move this up just a little bit. Now let me say this. Dr. Gilbert's behind me. There's some really important people that are behind me. Late Tom Smith's behind me. We've got senators and delegates, and we've got mayors. We've got a lot of important people here. We've got legendary coaches and a great coach friend in Coach Sutherland. We've got a lot of really, really important people here. And they have the opportunity, because there's been so much going on, they have the opportunity to understand maybe more than maybe somebody here understands. Now, I'm going to talk to you just as this. I didn't wear any green because if you'd cut me and I'd bleed, I'd probably bleed green. Because Marshall's a giant part of my life. And it just seems like yesterday I was like a lot of these rascals that are just coming in here and walking and doing their thing and all that kind of stuff and working hard every day here. But I love Marshall, and I absolutely love West Virginia. Now, I want you to know just this. When I came into being as your governor, what did I arrive to? I arrived to a $500 million deficit and nowhere to turn. Nowhere to turn. Our severance tax incomes were going down the tubes. We're a state that's losing population. The job opportunity for our kids and so on is almost nil. And we have a drug epidemic that's off the chart. Now, that's what I arrived to. I knew just one thing that we had to do. We had to come up with a way to create immediate jobs. And we had to figure out how to do it. And I really and truly in my life give all the credit for the good ideas to the good Lord. But this is a slam dunk idea. Putting this together into a bond and doing our road work and releasing the opportunity, just letting us turn loose the opportunity to really go and create an unreal amount of jobs, finish our road work, give us the opportunity to bring tourism and manufacturing and everything under the sun to our state. It was right there for the taking. Now, I commend our Senate. I commend our legislators. I commend our delegates for the courage to put all the funding in place. It's all there. Everything's there. Now, there are some groups out there that have literally tried to scare you and tried to say to you, you know, if you do this, it's going to put more debt on our state. If you do this, there's going to be more taxes that you're going to have to pay. And all that smoke and mirrors. I don't have a clue why in the world we would go out and try to do that to people. Scare people. Scare our elderly. Scare them. You know, the real truth is exactly this. You will not have to pay 1 more cent in taxes in any way, shape, form, or fashion. The real truth is the opportunity for jobs beyond belief is right at our fingertips. And the real truth is where you're tearing your vehicles all to pieces driving on our roads, we're going to fix them. We're going to fix them. And it's going to be done in every single county in this state. That's another thing that we scare people about. We scare people about saying, well, Southern West Virginia, you can forget Southern West Virginia. Well, I'm going to tell you, you'll forget Southern West Virginia on my dead body, because there's no way that I'll see that happen. Now, the opportunities are limitless. Limitless is what can happen here. But I want to ask you just this, and I want you to be so sincere and so honest it's off the chart. I want to hear from somebody here that says, you have heard of somebody, either you or your cousins or your in-laws or your outlaws or even Crazy Harry at the 7-Eleven. Tell me somebody that you've heard, and then tell me why you've heard of somebody that's going to vote against this. Somebody. Tell me of anybody you've ever heard, because I really want to know. Be honest. Be really honest with me. You know, and now's your chance. I mean, you can stand right up in front of God and everybody and say, Governor, my cousin Harry hates this idea. I want to know. Because I'm going to tell you just this. You see, I talk to you on the terminology of this. You know, it's hard for us to understand a lot of times when someone says there's $432 million of this, or there's 82 projects of this or that or whatever it may be. The reality is just this simple. And here's the deal. West Virginia's 50th in everything coming or going. And it's high time we get out of that. It's high time we get on with proving how great we really are. Look at this building. Look how great these kids are in this campus, in this community. People don't know it, but we can give them the opportunity to know it. We have this right at our fingertips. This is like you've paid for 9 Dairy Queens, and you walk up to the Dairy Queen and they got them all lined up there ready to give them to you, and you say, no, I don't really want to go in there and get those. It's absolutely crazy. And to scare people, I can't stand that. So the net of the whole thing is just this. We're on our way, because I really believe we're going to vote just like what you've already said here. You don't even know Crazy Harry that could vote against this. And I'm going to tell you that this is only the beginning. This is only the beginning. Absolutely, there is going to be so many opportunities that are going to happen in West Virginia, it's off the chart. Now let me tell you, you can fault me for a lot of things. You cannot fault me for this. I came into a situation in a dog's mess. I have told you nothing but the truth all along. You cannot find a single thing that I have not told you and represented to you the truth, and will stand behind it till the cows come home. The other thing is just this. There are opportunities that you don't even know about that are happening, and they're happening right now. I have told you I am committed tenfold to education and changing and helping education in every way. Now, we missed some opportunities the last go-round, and I hope we don't miss them the next go-rounds. I will continue to do exactly what I've done, and that is be there for nothing. I don't want a thing for Jim. I never have. All I want is goodness for you and this great state and this great university, and on and on and on. Now, you've got to help me. You've got to make sure that with your grandma, if she's listened to somebody that scared her, you've got to take care of settling your grandma down and making sure that the grandma gets to vote. Now listen, it's really important for you young people. It's really important for you young people to take the time to go vote. A lot of times you don't do that. And to be perfectly honest, when I was your age, I was preoccupied with a lot of things that maybe I wouldn't have done that too. And I'm not proud of that. But we need you. We need you. That's all there is to it. We need to send a message to the world. To the world. When we pass this, I don't want to pass this by 9 votes. I mean, I want us to send a message to the world that we're West Virginia and we're on our way. This is West Virginians and we're on our way. Now, I need you. I need you. You've got to get to the polls. September the 22nd, you can vote early. You've got to get to the polls. We can't have a turnout of 12% of the people and you sit at home asleep at the switch and then say, well, dag, I'd have voted for that. I need you. This university needs you. This town needs you. The chance for employment is off the chart. Think about just this last thing. What if we turn our back on this? Do you really, truly think that the federal administrations, or those that are looking to try to help West Virginia in every way, you know how they're going to look at us? They're going to look at us as, for crying out loud, if these people don't have enough sense to help themselves, why should we be worried about West Virginia? And we'll go on being a lot of what we've been, and I don't want that to happen. So the last of the last that I would say to you is just this. I love you. I love our state. All I want is goodness. I don't care if you're a Democrat or a Republican or an independent. All I want us to do is be West Virginians. I love this school right here. I really do, with all my heart. And I owe it a debt that I'll never be able to repay. Dr. Gilbert and the leadership of this university, you're on your way. We can't drop the ball here. God bless you. Thank you for having me, and let's get this done. I got to figure out how to get this done too. You see, I shouldn't have been in the engineering department. Thank you again.